Okay, so hello everyone. Today we have Sanjina with us. Sanjina is founder of Rangeen Khidki Foundation. You must have seen me sharing posts about Rangeen Khidki, and this is the same Rangeen Khidki we are going to talk about. But we are not just going to talk about what Rangeen Khidki does. We are also going to discuss what Sanjina has been doing for so many years and how she started Rangeen Khidki and all. So welcome, Sanjina. And I know your background is not just related to menstrual health space. You have been working on gender and diversity, inclusion, and so many related topics. So, would you like to share a little about how you started in this journey, and and then later you can share like how you founded Rangeen Kirki as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Rajasi, for having me. It's incredible to be a part of this awesome conversation, especially with you, because it's always, I think we share a relationship beyond the professional aspects also. So, yeah. So, as you mentioned, I have been in this development space for some time now, more than half a decade, and I've been working with multiple organizations, of course, as a team members in different capacities. Gender, sexuality has always been a part of everything that I did. It started from my brief stint with a couple of readings and classes during my masters, and it had that created an curiosity and this urge to know more and do more about it from then, and it has continued, and I've always tried to bring in the gender aspect, inclusion aspect in all the work that I've done with other organizations also. I've always wanted to have an initiative specifically dedicated to work in the sexual reproductive health space using the gender and sexuality lenses, which is why Rangin Kirki is in place today. Uh, yeah, so how it all started was, of course, because I'm in this space for some time, that has added a lot of value to the work that I do. But I also, considering that I am from a certain gender, and I am also a menstruator, and my own experiences around menstruation, um, I mean, yes, menstruation has been one of the things that pushed me to start the conversation, but I realized that you cannot see any process in isolation. You have to look at the entire scope of that process. So if you see menstruation, you can't talk about menstruation without understanding sexual reproductive health, right?
Totally.
And
Yeah.
if you see sexual reproductive health rights, you have to understand how gender and other social structures play into it. So that's how
Right.
we came. Me and a couple of like-minded people, we thought, okay, let's begin Rangin Khidki. Yeah.
Right. As you put it so well, there are very blur lines in between saying that this is menstrual health spectrum and this is menstrual health space and and this is reproductive health. So this is very blur line. So
Mm.
actually, like if we look into it, I like this. These are my thoughts. But I think that in the whole spectrum of sexual and reproductive health space, I think menstrual health is just one piece in that puzzle is what I feel. So like if we have to solve if we are planning to solve this one space, like this is pe kuch issue hai, so we want to work on that. So I think wo pura puzzle, like we have to look at the whole puzzle. And
Yes.
and I would like to tell all of you that Rangin Khidki has been using the lenses of intersectionality all the time, like whether it could be gender, it could be different communities, castes. Uh, so this is very important. And so I would like to tell all of you, like I knew Sanjina a little bit before this lockdown happened. Like I think we started talking probably last year, but this year we consciously had conversations because I attended one of her courses on gender and sexuality, and it was very interesting. Like I had been thinking of intersectionality, but I think it got a direction after attending this course. So would you like to share a little bit about this course and how you like how this thought came into your mind?
Yeah. So as I said, that gender sexuality has been the core of everything that we do. And when the lockdown was announced, so we usually were doing all these cross collaborations with multiple organizations where we were building their capacities and doing trainings and workshops for them on gender, sexuality, diversity, inclusion, and things of that sort. And when the lockdown was announced, everything came at a standstill, and I got a lot of calls from a lot of my existing volunteers and team members that Sanjana, we have nothing to do and we want to really put this time to use. A lot of courses are available on Coursera and other platforms, but most of them are expensive. So can we do some, like, okay, what can be done? And I thought, okay, how can we continue to reach? I mean, we are ultimately trying to create a space for people to ask questions, so why can't we create that space online? And that's how the course was designed. We piloted the course with, you were among the first few people we piloted the course with, to see how it went, and we got good response from people about it. So we did the second course also with a bigger number, and I think we brought in a lot of experts. So that's something I was very categorical about, that I am not going to talk about everything over there. There should be other people who are field experts. And we got somebody who were talking about how gender and disability is linked, how gender, sexuality, and law is linked, how um, queer sexuality is linked with gender and patriarchy. We also, I think, looked at the mental health aspect of it, because these are all very important. The last one that we did, we also looked at tribal rights, gender and tribal rights, along with other topics. So it's interesting, and that's how we want to design the course. We want to keep it dynamic. We don't want to stick to a certain setup. So, for example, last time we brought in a new angle like the tribal rights. The next time we are going to think about something else. So we want to,
Yeah, that's very interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, and hopefully we'll launch the third one in the next few months, because I've been getting a lot of queries. I'm really excited to have another bunch of people coming to learn with such open mind. Yeah.
So it's been really interesting knowing you, Sanjina, that we spoke very less last year, but this year, because of the lockdown and because I also attended your course, so I get to know, I came to know about Rangeen Khidki and about you as a person and also as the ethos of Rangeen Khidki. So it was very interesting to see how okay, before that, I would like to ask, how old is Rangeen Khidki?
Rangeen Khirki is technically 10 months old.
Oh,
Yeah.
but it's so amazing. I remember seeing your courses, your first course you mentioned, and then you went through then you had this like one more batch of course. Then you had series of webinars that you did with Global Shapers Kolkata on various intersections of gender and
Yeah.
sexuality, and also like later you came up with a mentorship program which I was also pleasure to be part of. So yeah, so you had a cohort of members and now you're planning that if you should have another cohort of mentees.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting to see how you have also evolved in this journey, and I'm sure it was not a it was not a cakewalk. So would you like to share and I also when you talk about challenges, would you like to also share about the relief work you did and what
Yeah.
challenges you faced while doing relief
Yeah.
work?
So, as I said, that Rangeen Khirki technically it was supposed to get registered last year, but a lot of other things happened. I was too busy at that point. So, we had to sort of delay it a little bit. And then, of course, the legalities and all of that, which takes a while to form a board, those kind of admin stuff, which got it delayed. So, yeah, we are a very new organization, but we are super, super. enthused about whatever we do. We are always looking for new ideas.
But your work doesn't look like you are new in this. So I think it comes from because the team you have, like, and especially you are leading it, like the experienced person is leading it. So I think that also makes a lot of difference to it, I guess.
Probably, yeah. Thank you so much for your kind words. But yeah, also we have some great partners and we have some great networks where people trust each other. I don't think we would be anywhere where, I mean, close to where we are without that. So and it has been in our mind from the very beginning that we would be like an organization dedicated towards building capacities, training, and I mean, creating spaces for leadership and conversation. We never had a product in mind, or we did not ever have those sort of ideas. So we always looked at collaborative efforts. So we started also with collaboratives. So you always want to, there's no one program that Rangin Khirki has which is their own completely. I mean, which is something that is, I mean, the ideation stage it might have been Rangin Khirkis, but at later stage it is always in a partnership, because we always feel that the outreach and the impact is grows by many levels when it's a partnership. So and also we learned the importance of partnership during the relief work that we did. So as I said, we are legally, we got established in February, and we had a bunch of programs supposed to be rolled out in schools in Calcutta and around, but lockdown happened, so that entire chunk of program had to be shelved. The funds stopped. So all those challenges were there, and we were thinking, okay, fine, let's give ourselves time and let's see how we can go about it. We started looking at starting these courses and all of these spaces, and in the meanwhile we saw a lot of citizen-led initiatives, and also obviously organizations also doing these relief work as a result of the lockdown. And I think lockdown was announced in March, and West Bengal was already dealing with it when in May there was a super cyclone that struck the state and created
it's like a double thing for
so created massive destruction. So before that only we started noticing that a lot of campaigns, lot of donation drives were happening, where people were donating food and medicines and soap and other hand washing stuff, but there was no conversation around menstruation, right? And even if it was hush hush. The government was putting out a lot of subsidies, but there was nothing about menstruation. I think the government, the Disaster Management Act later on clarified that, okay, in the essential items, pads are also included, but for a very long period of time that was unclear. So I started reaching out to various departments of the government. I started writing letters to them, expecting they would respond that, hey, why don't you subsidize the cost of these pads? And as an organization, we do promote sustainability and believe in the ethos of sustainability, but at that point it did not feel like it was the right time for us. So we're like, okay, anything that would help someone to manage their menstruation better is a good thing for us. So we started writing these letters, and we wanted to get it subsidized, and B, wanted to make it more widely available, because we knew that was a problem. And it was also fact, in our experience, at least in Bengal, I can say that a lot of even women in the rural spaces and semi-urban spaces do use branded pads. It's not that a lot of people use, I mean, people who use pads, they use branded ones. They don't use the non-branded ones. So like, okay, can we tell these brands to bring this down? But I did not receive any response from any of the departments, and I believe they were busy in handling the crisis at that point. And then I decided, okay, what can be done along with that? What is it that can we do while we wait for the response? And we started raising funds and for pads. So yeah, and we were very categorical that we are not going to do any separate drive. We are only going to collaborate with the existing organizations and initiatives. We are just going to push them to think about this aspect and include menstrual kits or pads, whatever they want to donate around menstruation, along with their kits. So that's how it happened. I think we first started doing it with Kolkata Police across 25 areas. That expanded to another 20. Then we did it with the multiple organizations. We used to get calls from random organizations. We worked majorly. We also worked with the sex workers community. I think kuch, 2,500 packets of sanitary pads have gone out. We always pushed people to think about reusable options, but when we realized that okay, maybe somebody is not open to that idea, we would, support them in accessing. And
Right, right, right.
so yeah,
So,
that's what
right.
helped us, like collaborations and partnerships.
So I think there are so many pointers that have come up from what you have shared, like people who want to start working on this topic, like either through campaigns or having your own NGOs. So there are some really nice not experiences exactly, but like pointers which Sanjina shared and that are very important is like what the menstruator may want to use, like in the name of giving away a relief kit or we have that thing that we want to help somebody, but we never really ask like what they want to use and what they're comfortable trying. So and the very important point you put out is like pushing something that is that is something new or that is not comfortable and in the time of crisis. So I think that is something we should be really mindful of. So yeah, so yes, and I think there was a lot of conflicts over this topic among various groups, and all of us were in this kind of tug of war that what is the best approach. So I think this
Yeah.
approach, like what the menstruator chooses to use, is I think the I think that approach is the best. Uh,
Yeah, I think I remember you and I also talking about it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
internally also very conflicting to give away
Yes, yes.
stuff which we don't really use anymore or don't believe in using any longer. But then, and yes, it was a very difficult time for me personally because I have been uh, I don't know if attack is the right word, but I've been sort of directed with a lot of stuff like you're not doing it right or things of that sort. And considering that we were doing a lot of relief work after the cyclone, with one of the with Sundarbans affected, which is an ecologically sensitive area, there was a lot of conversation around why are we giving away plastic, things of that sort. But yeah, as you rightly mentioned, that you cannot put the onus of saving the earth on somebody who's already in a crisis.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I'm really
And
glad, and also, yeah,
yeah.
I
Sorry. Please
I
continue.
also, yeah, I also found a lot of support from people like you and some other Kavya and even Kathy and all these people who've been working in this space for such a long time, and they showed solidarity that hey, we understand what we're doing, and that sort of calmed me down a little. But I was really disturbed. I was mentally really tormented because of this. That hey, what do I do now? Like, how do I keep helping?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And we as a campaigners, like if we have walked their shoes, then it's a different story. But if we have never walked their shoes, it's very conflicting for us. Like what suggestion should we give, or what kind of product should we hand out to them? And actually, when these conflicts were happening, there was a lot of conflict because I think some people were talking from the privileged space, so that was also
Mhm.
one thing. And there were some people who had already studied it, so they had come up with some approach. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was conflicting, and it's going to be because we are not always always prepared and aware about different approaches, and
Mhm.
yeah, we learn from it.
Yes.
So but and I also wanted to point out like the point you mentioned before that the onus of saving the earth should not be on the person who is already in the crisis. So I think same applies to diverse people. Like it could be people who don't come into the binary terms, or people who are already having some kind of disabilities. So like pushing reusable products or any product. So I think that is also like something we should reflect upon.
Yeah.
This has been on my mind. Like people take pride that I taught a blind girl to wear a cup, but okay, like if she was ready and you taught, that's a different story.
Mm.
But telling her to actually try the cup, but she's already struggling with her own disability. Like there are very few people who will be completely equipped when it comes to managing their
Mm.
menstruation if they are
Mm.
already disabled. So and also it's like I want to know your thoughts also. A lot of people think that sustainable menstruation is not inclusive and it's very ableist. What are your thoughts about it?
I think partly it is the movement's fault that we have made to appear sustainable menstruation as a space that cannot be occupied by all. And I know for a fact, and I was seeing your I think a couple of screenshots of the messages that you receive on Instagram, that how people have been saying that I was feeling guilty that I can't use a cup, and there's this pressure that a lot of people experience around switching, that oh god, I get calls that why am I not being able to switch, and those, I think that's not okay. I mean, it is
Right,
probably, if
right,
we have, if advocates for sustainable menstruation, including you and I, have given out such an impression, it is not okay. And
right, right,
I mean, you have to blame also a lot of the capitalist market politics, consumerist politics that's there, that makes certain products more affordable over certain products. And again, it's not the fault of the manufacturers of the sustainable products that
right,
it is
right,
costly, but it's because nothing else supports them. I think the entire
right.
system supports a mass production, which is why mass production at the cost of destroying the environment is way easier and cheaper than trying to sustain the
Right, right.
environment. So um, I don't have a clear cut answer if it is ableist or not, but I have also for a very long time uh, try to engage with this idea that is it actually ableist, and maybe it is, or maybe it is not. It also depends on the reality of the person who's using it, their context and all of it. So uh,
Absolutely.
even
Right.
disposables can be ableist. Even disposables, people, the biodegradable pads which are now available in the market, which come at a very high cost. So what about that? So
Right, right.
I think it's just, I mean, we're all in this part of the same movement. We are trying to make menstrual education a compulsory aspect to somebody's uh, life. And what product one is using, I think, comes a little later. First, we have to give them the agency to, I mean, help
Exactly,
them find
exactly.
their agency. Not even give. We are nobody to
Right,
give
right.
the agency,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
help them find the agency to make a choice for themselves. So, and
Yes,
that's
yes.
okay. I mean, yeah, it's a continued battle, and I don't think sustainable menstruation ever was a niche area until disposables came in. I think
Right,
disposables
right.
contributed in making it the way it is. But yeah, we just have to be more mindful. That's all I
Right,
can say.
right, right. Yeah, context and what the menstruator's point of view is, it's very important. Whether that person is disabled or not disabled, whatever it is. But it's very important, like what stories they carry, what experiences they carry, from where they come from. So this is very important. So one thing that is privileged for someone may not be privileged for some other person.
Yes,
It
of
could be a
course.
normal thing. So
Hmm.
this is very interesting for me. Like when I showed a cloth pad many years ago. Okay, when I started working in 2013, I showed a cloth pad to a woman who was already living in a tribal area, and all her life she has used her husband's lungi as a
Hmm.
cloth pad. So she was like, "What is different that you're showing me?" So she was like, "We have already always used cloth." and you are not showing me anything different. This is like just a stitched version of it. And I was like, wow, I want that confidence, I want that agency. And that is something. And we we go with our notions. So
Mm,
that was like the very first I was really brushed away by her. Like, she's like, we don't need all these products, I don't need your disposable product also, she told another person who had gone with stay free to her. And she told, like, I'm happy with using this lungi. So when my husband is like not like when he's done using it, like now he says like it has faded a lot and he doesn't want to use it anymore, I just use it as a menstrual product. And at that time, me and some other people, like I was very naive, I was just 22 when I started working on it. So I was, and there were some more teachers with me. So all of us had been, 2 3 teachers had been to a village. And then we had to respect her for her decision. And we were like, and that actually was eye opening for me, because I was cloth shamed as a child, because I got
mm,
my period uh, as exactly, I was not 10, I was just going to turn 10, and I got my first period. And for 2 3 years I used cloth myself, and then I moved to disposable actually because I was cloth shamed. So when I met her, and I was like, wow, this has happened to so many women across India, because they were shamed for using a certain product. So they may not be willing to try a product, but they switched because of peer pressure. So it could be trying a menstrual cup, it could be trying a biodegradable pad, or it could be buying a stay free or whisper or something disposable
mm,
pad, or even tampon. Like, I have seen girls getting bullied these days in colleges for not trying out tampon in their life. I was like, what is this
yeah.
where is this informed choice, and where is this agency that we have been talking about?
Yeah, and I think even in my experience also, when I've worked with school girls, and every time we you do your product analysis and we ask how many of you all use cloth, I know for a fact that they use, but they don't raise their hands
Right, right.
because there's also the larger marketing of a certain product. Uh, that you have, this is equivalent to the most hygienic product available and things of that sort. And sustainable menstruation has also become the new age thing also to some extent. So rightly like that lady said that she's been using a different version of cloth pad for a very long period, and so has been our mothers and grandmothers, but it's such a big deal for us now. So yeah.
Yeah. So moving forward, I would like to ask you just two questions. One is about, tell us a little more about the mentorship program you were running, which actually like partially ended and partially it's still going
Yeah.
on. So like some fellows have been like I don't know the right word, like they
Graduate.
completed their fellowship, graduated. Yeah. So thank you. So some of them have graduated. They did a 3 month fellowship, and some of them are continuing the fellowship. And yeah,
Yeah.
so what was your experience like? And
uh,
you're also planning, like, if you could do another
yeah. Yeah.
cohort.
Yeah. So the fellowship was also again a response to this is one of our strategies to get some work ongoing through fellows. So we launched this fellowship with Pratisandhi. I think, when did we launch it? June? June, I think. Yeah, June or July we
Yes,
launched it.
June. I think
Yeah,
the towards the end of
August,
June.
September. Yeah. So yeah, we launched the promotions and everything from June, and July onwards we started the fellowship. We put out a call for people who wanted to become future menstrual health educators, and we were looking at a certain privileged upper upper class English speaking people, because who could afford to understand English, who could afford to use computers, and who were well versed with social media. So that was something that we were very categorical, and probably we'll look at how we can make this a more diverse crowd the next time. But yeah, we started the fellowship was planned in a way where we conducted master classes for 3 weeks with these once a week with the fellows who was selected on how do you conduct a menstrual health session. So we had a lot of FAQs and a lot of, obviously we had a we helped them run through an entire session. Between these master classes, fellows did their demo classes, which was, people did it with different kind of people. They did it with a friend, they did it with their mothers, they did it with their sisters. So whoever, the idea was find any one person you can and sit them down and teach them what menstruation is and give us your feedback. And that was like a practice session that they did, and we had very interesting conversations in those master classes and followed by mentorship for the next 3 months. So we divided the groups. One group was being mentored by me, one group was mentored by Rajasi, and we would meet every month, and fellows were expected to do a minimal number of sessions, and there were no capping on a maximum number of sessions. And for every session they were to submit reports and share their experiences, and we also featured these fellows on our social media on a weekly basis to sort of keep them motivated. And the deal was that you can you can continue for 3 months, and you can also extend it up to 6 months. Some of our current fellows graduated after 3 months, and because of other priorities could not continue, but there are also some very enthusiastic fellows who wanted to continue with us for 6 months and who are right now with us. So now we are exploring how we can get more creative. And yes, all of these fellows have been motivated to do these sessions online as much as possible, using social media, using portals like Zoom and Google Meet to reach out to people and talk. And I think um, there were about total 12 fellows. We started with 14. Unfortunately, two of them had to drop out, and they were men. I don't know why they dropped out. They never. I could never speak to them to find out what went wrong. But 12 of them continued, and I think all of them combined have done more than 35 sessions on different platforms, and reached out to more than 120 people directly, and over 1,800 people through social media engagement. We did campaigns together. So yeah, I think it was a good show that we ran together, and we are planning how we can do this better for the next cohort.
Yeah, so for me also, like it was a very interesting journey to see people for the continued time, like how they have changed. Like they used to share me reports and they used to tell me like, how is my report? And my feedback used to be like, the writing doesn't matter. How you do it, like how you did the session does matter. So it was very interesting to see all these fellows like. Not keeping themselves limited to just doing like demo classes, but like also engaging people through social media and putting out posts about menstrual and reproductive health. It was really interesting to see their journey. Okay, so Sanjina, I won't take more of your time. So just the last question. I would like to know, like, you have been very spontaneous yet very thoughtful when you have put up new, what we can say, programs or um, things related to Rangeen Khidki. So, is there anything that has, you're planning in future and you would like to share with people who are watching us?
Yeah, there are a couple of things that we are doing. We are trying to uh, expand our work in the safe abortion space, because we realized in our work, and we were having a session last month, September, early September. We were doing a session with a bunch of sex workers in Kolkata, and we were talking about menstruation, and then we ended up talking about contraception and safe abortion. And then we realized that A, they are so interconnected, and B, that it's important to talk about these things more openly. And I mean, it's so closely connected that how can you not talk about I mean, if you're talking about sexual intercourse and fertilization, then it's also important that you tell them that what happens if you end up end up having a fertilized egg in the system. So we sort of like try to explain that in this session, and we realize, okay, what can be done about it. So we are now building our capacities also to and by various partnerships, and we want to roll out this program in Calcutta and largely Bengal, where we want to not only talk about this to normal lay persons, but also engage with medical professionals and medical students to make uh, services more judgment free. And we are also simultaneously now collecting a little bit of data around menstrual practices, a little information around contraception, and a little information about safe abortion. What are the superficial idea that people have? It's not an in-depth study. It's a very small study where we are collecting
understanding their perceptions.
Yeah, we are doing it through FGDs. We are doing it on ground. So we are talking to sex workers. We are talking to other slum population to understand, because I'm really I'm tired of not able to find any data around menstruation in around perceptions in West Bengal. So I hope that we can use this data and later on probably get some financial support to do it all across the state, to have a representative data. So yeah, that's something that we are doing in terms of this. But yeah, other than that, we are doing a lot of other stuff, including doing the third course cohort and second fellow cohort of the fellowship, and let's see how things turn up.
Yeah, this is very interesting, and even I learned a lot about you and Rangeen Khidki today. Like, though I knew about it before, but I knew I got to know so much today. So thank you so much for joining today and giving out your time. I know you are very occupied. You're managing so many teams, but and I would like to tell the viewers that please go check out Rangeen Khidki's Facebook, Instagram page, and the website also. So and you will get to know like upcoming webinars or courses that Rangeen Khidki is launching. And if you think that you can donate to Rangeen Khidki in any way, please do consider doing that, because Rangeen Khidki is a very new organization, and they are working in collaborations with different people. So yeah, funds will be really appreciated, along with the likes and shares and comments. So please do that. And thank you, Sanjina, for coming here today. And I wish we could just hug each other after this.
Yeah.
So
No
it's been
problem.
really long. I really met people in person and talked so much.
It's okay. We always end up talking for a very
Yeah,
long time. I have
yeah.
gotten to understand that. But no, thank you
So
so much, Rajasi, for doing this. And yes, all of you, please, if there's anything that you want us to support you with, um, we will try our best. Please reach out to us. We are present on mostly all social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have our blog also, where we try to get new people come and write about their experiences around menstruation, gender, sexuality, whatever. So if you want to write for us, that we are welcome. You're most welcome. We have a fundraiser right now going on Give India. So this time our hashtag is this Diwali, don't burst crackers, bust the shame. So if you want to help us
wonderful.
in any way, yeah, if you want to help us and donate in any way, please do that. And yeah, we are just one email away or one DM away. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjina.
Okay.
Okay, so you can stop
Bye.
recording now. Bye
Yes.
bye.